It has been a rough week. Sad news out of America and in Hanoi. This week on Jinka Java. Well, I'm going to reverse the order a little bit. I'll start locally, and then we'll move on to talking about America and the massacres that happened there last weekend. But I wanted to begin by talking about something that happened close to where I'm sitting right now. I'm at the edge of Ba Ding, which is a district in western, it's like the western part of Hanoi. And just to my west is the Kozai district, that's Paper Bridge district. And this week, on the second day of class, a 6-year-old first grader died. And this was because he was left during the day in a locked school bus. And this is for Gateway School. That is an international school. Now, these international schools are quite expensive, and they pay really well. I've flirted with, I've applied for certain jobs with international schools, and that's supposed to be a very high degree of education. You know, they pay lots of money for it, and they're well staffed, and they're supposed to have professionals. I even saw recruitment ads for this school on some of the job boards and thought about it and everything. But this is just a terrible thing what happened. And again, to fill you in, I would give you the link, but the only article that I really that came out right away was in Vietnamese, and these English takes on it, whatever. You can search it if you want, but just a trigger warning, and I don't really believe in trigger warnings, but don't watch the video because you actually see the dead child being carried away, and there's like rigor mortis. He's not moving. It's like carrying a blue mannequin or something. It's horrible. Do not watch it, and I regret that I did. In a way, it sort of just threw a dark spin on the whole week. And this is starting the week on the massacres and all that, which I guess I'm more used to. But to think of a 6-year-old boy who just fell asleep on the bus, and the driver did not take the 2 seconds or whatever it would take just to walk through and make sure the kid was still there. And so locked the bus, and in this hot summer weather, you know, he suffocated just like a common dog would. Simply horrible. So the bus driver is responsible for it, and of course the teacher took attendance and reported it. And it's one of those things where it's just a lot of people made mistakes. There are a few that are more culpable than the others, I would say, but it seems that it's just a collection of things going wrong. And it kind of reminds me in the Tao Te Ching, it says that do not ignore small things, do not ignore details, because it's because these details are ignored that big problems happen, that everything has an origin in a common mistake. And when we think about all the mistakes that we've made, gosh, when I think about my life, when I think about just not answering a call in time or leaving something slightly askew someplace or something like that, it really reminds me how lucky I am, but also the precariousness of our situation now. We have to worry about contingency, how we never know what's around the corner. And, you know, death is everywhere. There are flies in the windshield for a start, right? And then, okay, you see in the video also the grieving mothers. There's lawsuits going around and all of this. It's just such a careless death. But I suppose, you know, fate happens to everyone. I remember when I was in Christian Science Sunday school, and this was a long time ago, and I was studying Mary Baker Eddy. And I was really into it for a while, but not totally committed. But that's a whole different story. But my Sunday school teacher, you know, we're talking about how reality is supposed to be wonderful and amazing and everything, and God is good and merciful. Then he tells me the story of a little girl who's, she has a new jump rope, and she's in the car with her mom, and the mom doesn't notice as the jump rope gets looped around her head, and her head snaps off as she's pulling out of the driveway. Just one of those completely random things. And there it is. That's a situation where, okay, you don't have really anyone liable, but there is just a series of very tiny mistakes that leads to it. So you don't have, of course, you know, I assume the most responsibility goes to the bus driver, but It's not just the bus driver, it's not just the security attendant, it's not just the teacher who took attendance, it's not just whoever hired this staff, it's not just the school itself, but it's everyone's implicated, and we're all kind of implicated. When we look at Carmen, we look at how the little mistakes we make just affect everyone. So anyway, horrible story to start the week with, and I feel very sad for the family, and I've been thinking about them a lot. And if anything we can take from it is just yet another reminder that life is precious. Over and out.